Hey everybody, this is Webs and Lanissum bringing you another NATO gameplay video from Wargame European Escalation. We are here representing Quantitative Easing, Ben Bernanke's Special Forces. So in this map we're playing 3 Mile Island. As you can see, once again another very large map, very open, a little bit more open than Hamburger Hill that we covered last time, which is definitely good for armored combat. It's another one of our favorite strategies is just pure all-out armored combat. A lot of open space and very little terrain cover except for a couple of hills down here that you can see. You know, very flat terrain, very good. Limited cover, so vision is definitely going to be very important in this match.
Yeah. Recon is very important.
Yes,
too.
recon definitely going to be lifesavers here, enabling your tanks to shoot them before they can shoot you. Let's take a look at our unit composition down here. So on the side with Llama and myself, Webs, here we have MBT-70s and Abrams, although those are going to be replaced for some cheaper tanks like Leopard 1s and their variants and stuff. I'm going to be holding the AMX-30B2s and MBT-70s for a little bit heavier hitting fire support, just because they have more armor and are generally just better tanks in my opinion for the cost. The AMX-30B2 is definitely one of my preferred best buys. The only thing is that you have to make sure that you actually have them stationary before you start engaging the enemy, because if you don't, they don't have any stabilizers, and so your accuracy is going to be absolute garbage. Okay, so as we can see, Llama here is bringing in some Leopard 1A5s. We'll go over here to Lanissum and see what he's doing. He's the only one on his flank. As you can see, this is a 3v4. Captain Kirk, who is one of the other members of Quantitative Easing that we talked about last match, dropped before this match actually started, so we decided to go with a 3v4.
Yeah, he crashed. On my flank, I'm using MBT-70s along with Leopards and Leopard 2s and just AA. So pretty much have 2 platoons of tanks, recon and AA, and it's pretty simple since it's just open ground. I'm going to be avoiding the woods since there's probably going to be infantry there, and it's just dangerous to go near there.
You can see he also does have some fast infantry, if you wouldn't mind explaining why that's in there too.
Well, in this case, I sent them into the woods since I figured that's going to be the only other place infantry are going to be, and I went to clear the woods, and if they happen to stick something else besides infantry there, I can kill it with my guys. And also, if there was anything there, I could probably, hopefully, suicide into the whatever tank blob they have and, you know, unload in their face. I also added some AMX-30B Valeries for this meat shield tanks, because my main killers are going to be the Leopard 2s and MBT-70s.
So one of the reasons we like MBT-70s are because of the fairly accurate AT missiles that they have. They can engage at pretty longer ranges than other tanks, so they are a very effective cavalry tank.
Yeah, they're mainly our answer to the T-62Ms.
So our problem over here is going to be on the left flank with Llama and myself. Fortunately, there were 2 of us over here. If there were 1 of us, we were going to get rolled quite a bit faster than we actually did. So a little bit of a plot spoiler, we don't win this game, which you will see why very, very soon. But I'm just going to show you some of the things that the enemy is advancing here. Not only in this column that's moving down the center road, we have some T-55s. These are Vet 4 T-55s. Now, if you've looked at the T-55 statistics, the stock T-55 is only 15 points to call in. And the statistics on the T-55 are actually really bad. Unupgraded and unvetted, the T-55 is just a bad tank. However, these are Vet 4 T-55s, and as we will see going into this match a little bit later, they actually become an extremely effective fighting force. So we're going to keep watching this left flank over here. We're moving recon up. We can see them moving this column down the left that I'm going to be engaging, and Llama is moving his forces up on the right road here. And we already have some enemy forces deploying into Mike. They're probably deploying some special forces in there or other infantry in order to secure Mike, the 5 supply point cap that it's going to give. Lanissum's already almost about to engage the enemy here on the right flank.
Yeah, I'm actually about to stumble on theirs in the woods there. I can see with my recon that the enemy has nothing, so we've pretty much figured out by now that the enemy is weak on my side and strong on theirs. Now, since this is a 4v3, the enemy is going to have like 3 players on one side and 1 on the other, and that means they also have more resources on the other side than on mine.
So we're going to watch Llama's engagement here, and as you can see, they have 4 BM-30 Smirches in the back that are opening fire on Llama's armored column here. These guys are already in a group, and there's pretty much nothing that can be done at this point. As you can see, the massive stuns that come in. This is going to wipe out a very serious amount of his forces, or at least stun them and prevent them from reacting very much. These attack choppers come in from the back, open fire on the Leopard 1A3s. There's the Buratino there already opening fire, and his force has been pretty much cut in half right there, which was highly unfortunate. Yes, as Llama sneaks up behind me and watches this replay as we're shoutcasting here. So he's still managing to engage them quite effectively here, although we do have AT missiles from these Figo infantry here. My force over on the left flank, on the left side here, is engaging their tanks fairly effectively, but the Smirches are almost about ready to fire another volley, and I believe they are going to fire at Llama on this volley again and effectively eliminate the rest of his forces from this match. As you can see, actually no, they're firing on me this time. And once again, my forces are also clumped up way too much. We're going to get quite a few kills here as well. Just indicating exactly how effective Smirches are in this game. Massive stuns on these. They did manage to only kill about 2 or 3 units, but as you can see, the rest of them are pretty much damaged to ineffectualness. At this point, I decide that I'm going to have to push up pretty hard because Llama's flank has been almost completely overrun. These T-55s are almost still all here. Yes, they certainly are amazing. Something we're probably going to have to try out very soon. So in the meantime, while we are waiting on my forces to get up and engage the enemy in Kilo, and go take a look over here at Lanissum, who's managed to push up pretty far and has them contained within Alpha.
Yeah, at this point I figured it's rush or die, and I lost a full platoon of AMX Valkyries rushing into these T-62Ms, and what used to be about 2 tank destroyer units. But by now I've moved up my Leopard 2s and MBT-70s into engagement range, along with my Chinook for...
Now you can also see here they are smirching my tanks that are over on the left flank here. These tanks had just previously routed. You can see they're still routing here, which is essentially going to eliminate the rest of my armored force. And at that point right there, there's almost nothing that can be done because they're going to get also Buratino'd. So this one AMX-30B2, these 3 AMX-30B2s are going to get pretty much eliminated here as well from flanking fire from these T-55s. You can see those fully vetted T-55s hit almost every single one of those tank shells. There's 12 of them moving up on my right flank. Yeah. So ultimately they are going to be pretty much eliminated at this point. So for a little while that left flank is going to be completely open and all of the action is going to happen over here with Lanissum.
Yeah, I'm pushing hard right here since I figure this is the only thing I can do really. In hindsight I probably should have pushed direct skipped Bravo and gone straight for Juliet, although I'm not really sure how I could have done that without getting countered, because that would have taken quite a while to actually do.
However, they only really have Smirches and a little bit of AA and some Tunguskas on the way to Juliet. As you can see, actually in India right here, 2 different command trucks, so that would be a gain of 400 points right there. We are only losing by about 1,200 points at this particular juncture, so not irretrievable. But as you can see, Llama and I have almost no forces on the map at all that are able to counter this armor push. And as you can see, massive concentrations of units here, plus those Smirches in the back ready to fire at pretty much anything on the map that they see that's clumped up. So ultimately, not going too well for us on the left flank.
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure your tanks are all going to die before they can actually get back to base, except for maybe a few.
Absolutely. You can see these Leopard 1A1s here going into the forest, valiantly trying to hold off these T-72s. Not going to be able to do much, especially because they're exposing their side armor. Not that that really matters too much. The Leopard 1A1s are fairly weak unless they're in extremely high concentrations, so these T-72s are at point-blank range, going to be able to kill these Leopard 1A1s fairly easily, almost with 0 casualties. I believe they do have actually 0 casualties.
On the right flank, I'm rushing in some infantry I called on for point-blank unloading, and it's fairly effective. Meanwhile, my tanks are pell-mell rushing over into Bravo, although right now they're kind of getting disorganized since the different speeds are of the units. And capping enemy FOBs in Bravo. That's always nice.
So they're about to push us off of Quebec on the left flank. Definitely no good here. The only thing I've got there are 4 Leopard 1A1s, which are not really going to be able to do too much against this massive armor onslaught, especially these Vet 4 T55s here. The most that any one of them is damaged is down about 3 bars on one of them on one single solitary tank, which is definitely not much. A couple of these BTRs are going to get taken out, but that's ultimately not going to be of much solace here because those are not what's inflicting the most damage. As you can see, these guys are going to get absolutely wrecked by these Vet 4 T55s. And I'm trying to pull my command armor out here, but unfortunately, I told it to move fast. It's going to try and move toward this road right out in front of these T55s, which are basically going to annihilate it. And there it goes. So there's another 240 points lost right there for that command armor. But it looks like Bravo has been pretty much completely secured by Lanissum.
Yep, my forces are getting almost within range. My infantry are rushing forward into these tanks to attempt to kill them, although I don't think they'll be quite successful.
However, because Bravo has been overrun, India is now being reinforced by the enemy, so they're starting to move some BTR 60 PAIs up with anti-tank infantry. So that is going to be no good, and it looks like the enemy is starting to continue to advance over on the left flank toward our deployment point in Papa, which ultimately the only thing that stands between us and complete and utter annihilation are 2 M1 Abrams, which surprisingly later on are going to be able to do a significant amount of damage to the enemy before they get completely annihilated.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Meanwhile, I'm getting smirched on the right flank. I got smirched maybe 2 or 3 times, although it wasn't really that bad since my forces were more spread out. Although at this point, it doesn't really matter that much.
Right, as you can see, this large spread of units right here is definitely going to save his forces from those MLRS arty pieces, which ultimately really did help us quite a bit, but not quite enough to be able to take on an additional 3 opponents with almost all of their armor from the beginning of the round intact. Mike has definitely been secured by this point, 2 units of Spetsnaz plus a command vehicle holding Mike. We do still hold Hotel for some strange reason.
Whose command vehicle is it? That's at Will's, yeah.
Yes, that would be mine.
Yep.
So these 2 M1 Abrams are currently in position in these shrubs here, ready to fire on any enemies that come in. They're going to flank us from both the north and the west here, which is going to prove to be very painful. T-62s leading the charge on the western flank, and we have forces from November moving toward the road either on the side here. Looks like they are going to go around on the right flank here, all the way to the right flank. It looks like those BTRs might be headed to Hotel to wipe out that command truck. Don't really remember. So we're about to find out. Now, it looks like they're going to stop. They're probably going to be part of the attack here.
Yeah, Bravo, I've killed pretty much everything except for one T-62M by now. And the enemy is forming up for a final attack on Papa. And there's a giant column of troops. I'm not sure if they can go for Hotel or Papa, that one on the right.
They do take out Hotel. I'm not sure whether it's after they take out Papa or not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that T-62M is taking out a little bit of stuff up there at the top, but it's out of anti-tank missiles, which is going to severely hurt it, and it's getting low on regular main gun ammunition. But those Leopard 2A1s, if they saw it, would be able to take it out very easily, but they don't see it, which is a problem.
They saw it, but I figured I could turn around and get off and let some of my other vehicles take it out. Unfortunately, it got off a lucky missile on rear armor, which was a mistake. And I paid for it with a lost from, I think it was pretty much full health. That was really unfortunate. But now the T-62M has to approach. It has only 12 shots left, and my Valor is going to take care of that without too much difficulty.
As you can see, these Vulcans got a little bit too close to the enemy here. Anti-tank infantry are going to open up on them for decent effect here, wiping out at least 2 these Vulcans.
I'm pretty sure I'll lose another one there. The main reason I said there is because I figured if there wasn't anything there, I could get through, but obviously that was a gamble that didn't pay off there.
And the final assault on Papa is going to be coming in right now. What I've done in the meantime is called in 3 Cobra AH-1Ss in order to flank these Smirches, which hopefully don't have a lot of AA covering them. They are firing right now, and they are absolutely going to devastate our FOBs here. As you can see, this when the Smirch rockets land, you'll see exactly how much damage they managed to do. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see exactly the amount of pain that happens. So
these M1 Abrams have been doing their job to hold off the enemy, but It's
You can see massive stuns here. We have one forward operating base left. Wiped out the Chinook along with 3 fobs, stunning everything else in the ring there, only leaving 3 AMX-30 Roland 2s as the unit alive inside of that Smirch area, along with these Abrams. And now that these Abrams have lost their fob support, they're gonna get wasted.
Meanwhile, on the red flank, I'm trying to push across the bridge by destroying the enemy that are defending it.
It looks like the enemy has taken out the stuff in Hotel here, because they're starting to move additional units across this bridge here. Lots of upgraded T-55s. Papa is lost at this point. There's absolutely nothing we can do to take this point back. This Abram is getting repaired, but certainly not fast enough in order to be able to handle the amount of tanks that are shooting at it.
And that pretty much goes. It's all dead there.
So we have Leopard 2s on the bank here, opening fire at everything that's trying to cross the bridge.
Yeah, they Buratino'd my MPT-70s, but they weren't able to kill it all. My forces were sufficiently spread out for that case. However, now that they're routing, I'm bringing up a Chinook to repair units before I actually cross the bridge. I'm bringing the Vulcans there to get some suppressing fire, but it doesn't quite work out.
However, the Leopard 2s are delivering some very punishing fire to these T-55 AMs, pretty much wiping them out without contest. Basically eliminated right there. Anti-tank infantry are still in range of these tanks, though, able to fire.
And hey, a Havoc is at the bridge right now and just got shot down by the Chaparral.
So once again, Chaparral's proving very effective at maintaining air superiority in an area.
Yeah, although the issue with Chaparrals is they don't have enough ammo, so if there was more than one chopper, it would be a bit of a questionable outcome there.
So just in case you were wondering, this game is, in fact, to 7,000 points, which is why it has not ended at this point, even though PAC does have quite a significant point lead here.
It's about 6,100 to 4,100 in their favor. I've killed off the rest of their anti-tank infantry, and I'm about to make a push across the river. My MPT-70s have been repaired by the Chinook, so at this point I figure it's do or die, and I'm gonna rush through and try and kill everything.
Now, as you notice, one thing that we did not see coming was this armored column from the south along the road here next to the...
I had a recon there, and I knew it was coming, so I have Valerie's and AMX-30Bs moving up to intercept.
And here come the last 2 Smirches. Unfortunately, we missed that on this replay here. Smirches are in the back. They've called in some additional Uragans. They've got 1 Smirch left and 1 Uragan. The rest of the Smirches, notice they had 4 at the very beginning of the round, happened to get killed by my 3 Cobras, which was very fortunate for us and certainly brought the point margin quite a bit closer.
Yep, meanwhile my Leopards have gotten onto the island and are killing a command truck and a Buratino. I made a mistake by turning their rear armor at point blank to these T-55s and infantry, and I paid dearly for that. But at this point, it was just kill as much as I can before I die.
And that Buratino certainly helped the point margin there, 150 per Buratino, not counting if it's vetted, which it probably was at this point.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the last Leopard 2A1 is routing at this point thanks to the suppressing fire on that Tunguska, and then gets taken out by anti-tank infantry or the BTR-60 PVs.
Yep. On the other side of the river, though, my Valeries are putting up the brief defense against the enemy tanks. And there it is.
Once again, the T-55s proving that upgraded T-55s are quite incredibly awesome. So, well done to the enemy team on that one.
Good game.
Yes, that was quite an interesting game. Was not expecting the massive suppression from those Smirches. The tank blobs that we had on the left flank ultimately wound up proving to be our undoing. So we definitely should have spread those out quite a bit more.
Yeah, if they had been able to avoid getting destroyed by the Smirches and had at least been able to kill the enemy 1 for 1, I think we could have won this, since on my flank I did pretty well at 2,800 to 1,600 point line. But a game is a game, and so they won pretty much fair and square. The thing about Smirches is just spread your units out and don't present them awesome targets like we did.
And ultimately, one of the things that we did not notice until far too late in the match was that they had very little air cover over their Smirches, and knowing that they had 4 Smirches plus Buratinos on the field should have immediately told us the first time those Smirches were fired that we should have assumed a defensive posture, spread everything out, and then waited to call in some attack helicopters to swing around to their main and destroy those Smirches for a massive amount of points, since the Smirches unupgraded are 175 per unit. So that certainly would have helped us out in the point department early on in the game and probably kept us from losing quite a few units.
Righto. So
that's all for this replay. Until next time.